Your moral core is magnificent.
Wow.
I learned what pre-bunking was from Michael Schellenberger, the journalist who, along with Matt Taibbi, Barry Weiss, and some others, participated when Twitter got took over and turned into X by Musk, in revealing just how involved the government had been in controlling what was on that site. Schellenberger told me and you, our audience, that what pre-bunking is when you are invited in advance to have a particular perception of a story. The Hunter Biden laptop story is a classic example of a pre-bunk. They were told, various journalists were literally invited to a conference, and the example of the Hunter Biden laptop story was given to them as, hey, watch out, there's going to be some stories that there's crazy stuff on Hunter Biden's laptop, so be ready for that. Now, it seems that there's some pre-bunking going on when it comes to voting machines. There are only 3 companies that make voting machines, Dominion and a couple of others. That's a near monopoly on something that's extraordinarily significant. We might be waking up tomorrow to a Trump administration or a Kamala administration, or we might find ourselves in a kind of extraordinary purgatory. One thing we could be aware of is people are talking about voter integrity. You will have all seen those videos of people pressing Trump and it coming up Kamala. You'll have seen burning ballot boxes. You'll have seen all of those extraordinary iterations of this story. And here are some examples of pre-bunking. Like, look, these are some stories on that. How we know voting systems are secure. Staff at US voting machines prep for doxing misinformation. Voting machine companies are fighting the next disinformation war. Musk pushes debunked Dominion voting conspiracy theory. So look, we're getting, this is like, there's a lot of stories on that subject. Are we being pre-bunked right now when it comes to this election? Here's an NBC News story talking about the likelihood that Nevada, for example, won't be concluded until, maybe days, maybe longer.
So she wins North Carolina. We could be living here in Nevada, waiting and waiting and waiting. And if you remember, Nevada will take a week to count all their votes.
Well, because they go 4 days after.
And you'll have more ballots coming in.
Yeah.
And then you're really going to be used a lot on air, because this is going to be lawyers upon lawyers litigating which ballots can get fixed or cured is the language you'll start to see, those provisional ballots. So the nightmare scenario where we're just waiting for weeks, sort of the Florida of 2000.
Cart Monson in the Rumble chat says that the best neologisms of 24 are pre-bunking, gaslighting. What was the other one you said? And lawfare. Nice. Yeah, these are new words, and these new words, these new terms, like people talk about gaslighting now because gaslighting has become a prevalent idea. We're continually being told, no, if you think that, there must be something wrong with you. No, what do you mean? Are you racist? Why would you even say that? Pre-bunking, we're getting used to the idea that stories are continually framed. It's probably always happened. I bet before there was a war between Britain and Germany, there was sort of gentle propaganda saying, we want to watch out for these Germans. If you have to control entire populations, you have to control their minds and you have to control their hearts. If you can't control their hearts anymore because the era of the razzmatazz politicians like Obama and Clinton is over and you're sort of left with the dregs, and I don't mean that in a derogatory sense in terms of their essential quality as a human, but someone like Kamala Harris is not a razzmatazz politician like Bill Clinton or Barack Obama. Doesn't have that kind of prestige or power. You've got to find ways of controlling people that are sort of, in a sense, outside of, well, they're not going to be persuasive. They're not going to be persuasive. If you don't have recourse to charisma and good communication skills, Lord alone knows what you have to do to get what you want. But here's Kamala Harris making a terrible catastrophe of a perfectly good rally.
Thank you. Let's vote. Let's get out the 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 vote. Let's win.
Oh, like that's one way that the soaring costs of fuel prices could be countered is instead of offering people access to energy, you could put that video on and people could warm themselves with the flush of embarrassment in the chillier parts of the United States over the winter months. That was a perfectly good chant. Kamala, Kamala, Kamala. Let's vote. Let's get out the vote. Oh no, let's win. Can we watch it again? Isaac, can you reset that? I just want to watch it one more time.
Thank you. Let's vote. Let's get out the 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 vote. Let's win.
That's not gonna help in a modern media environment. Now remember, I guess like we oughtn't be perhaps drawn solely to charismatic folk. We should perhaps look to government for managerial excellence and operational skill. But do any of us believe that there's any integrity or credibility at the heart of this democratic government, this sort of odd globalist cadre that will change their principles more frequently than Bill Clinton's interns change their frocks? Because there are no permanent principles to gird themselves to. Permanent principles would mean, I don't know, kindness because it's real and necessary, service because it's the way that we connect to one another and demonstrate humility. These are the kind of principles I'm referring to. Now, to see and demonstrate how the principles of power mesh to the actions of media, have a look at The View. Now, if you watch Ghost, you're going to love Whoopi Goldberg. I've been on The View. Whoopi Goldberg's a lovely person. And if you've seen Donald Trump on The View, it's something that people talk about now because we are sort of a little more au fait with media studies. It feels like the world's on edge right now, doesn't it? It's crazy. There's tensions over the upcoming election. How will it go? Economic insanity and instability, health threats popping up all over the gaff. With talk of a new pandemic on the horizon, you've got to take action for your family and be prepared. The wellness company's contagion emergency kit is exactly the way to do it. It's a lifesaver. It's put together by real experts like guest on the show, Dr. Peter McCulloch. He's one of the first people to speak out during the pandemic. You can trust him. This kit's got medicines in it like ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine. It's got budesonide in it and a nebulizer, critical to treat respiratory illnesses, especially now that we're heading into flu season. Don't let anyone play the gatekeeper with your health. Take responsibility for it. Within a few clicks, a kit can be delivered to your door. Peace of mind for the family in the event that something does happen. Got my kit. I'm in America. I'm fully kitted up. You can get yours. Go to twc.health/brand and use the code brand to get $30 off right now and free shipping. That's twc.health/brand. Use the code brand for $30 off and free shipping. Don't wait for the next crisis to hit. Be prepared. Get your kit today and take control. You know, we've all seen Donald Trump prior to his ascent into politics, or descent, depends on how you regard it, fated over on The View. Now, Liz Cheney, who is connected to sort of pretty powerful military and energy forces and resources. Liz Cheney, who is a pretty hawkish politician. Liz Cheney, who Donald Trump said, what it seemed to me was trying to say, and indeed did say in his own way, was if she advocates for war, she ought to be willing to participate in it in a visceral and real way, i.e. by being on the front lines. That was, of course, mangled and manipulated. But if The View can now fate and adore Liz Cheney, as they once fated and adored Donald Trump, what does it tell you about how power's moving around? i.e., what is it that they're trying to tell us? If they're saying that, like, Liz Cheney is like a great person, and by the way, she might be, but I don't think The View care about that. I think what The View care about is continuing to amplify and support the messaging of centralized interests in order that their business model can be perpetuated.
So I have a question. Are you also a lawyer?
Yeah, I am.
So you could conceivably be a great AG if this was... Because, and I say this because your moral core is magnificent.
Well,
and I know you probably don't want it, you don't want to think about it, but I just feel like I would feel a lot better with you leading the FBI, the CIA, the NBC, the LMNT, everybody. That's just me. So I'm just saying, should it be floated? Please think about it.
and under the radar.
We have to get Vice President Harris elected too.
Yes.
Really, like,
well, you know, I'm being.
you're putting it out there in the universe.
I'm putting it in the universe
Manifest.
because that's how we do things.
That's really confusing. Where are the people? Like the Whoopi Goldberg that lives in my imagination, there's one in there, would like love Bobby Kennedy. Would go, yeah, man, think about what Bobby Kennedy's going to do with Pfizer and the FDA and the NIH. Think of how a figure like Bobby Kennedy in the upper echelons of the political establishment is going to alter the health of millions of American people. It's going to be better for Americans. And like someone like Tulsi Gabbard, who has military experience, who knows what war's like, who doesn't want to be involved in war, who has integrity. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. Glenn Greenwald has a clearer understanding of it than I do. So does Mike Benz. Here's Greenwald's post. Whoopi Goldberg suggested today that Kamala should turn over the Justice Department to the Cheneys by making Liz Cheney the Attorney General. But I think she'd far likelier be Kamala's Defense Secretary or Secretary of State. Benz, our friend Mike Benz, Liz Cheney does not have to do this. She can't just go on with her life. Her family fortune is in Halliburton, which has hitched its financial star to the tune of billions to the fate of Ukraine. Isn't that amazing? And likely related to to her position, her ascent, her alliance to the Democrats, and the way that power is genuinely operating. And what you might have, and what I certainly have, is a sense that there is the opposite of what Whoopi Goldberg says, no moral core at the heart of this.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you want to see more uncensored content where free speech can flourish, join our live stream. Click the link right here to watch the next video if you want to, or become a member of a growing movement. Download the Rumble app and you'll be informed every time we make a new piece of content. Stay free.